I think that politics and policy is what will cushion this downturn and will prevent it spiraling downwards. The new U.S. administration, I think, marks an important turning point, both because having a new set of actors there in itself is a powerful jolt to confidence. And a lot of what's been happening in the past couple of months is a sudden loss of confidence. It's the result of the banking panic that we discussed, means that people have lost confidence very dramatically. And so, much as Roosevelt said, we have nothing to fear but fear itself, I think there's a kind of modern iteration of that, which is that a whole new set of players taking bold steps by itself will boost confidence. But secondly, I think that the Obama administration, the economic team that he has announced, and he's announced that the top people, Tim Geithner, who's the current president of the New York Fed, will become Treasury Secretary. Larry Summers, one of the most creative economic minds of his generation, and previous Treasury Secretary, will become head of what's called the National Economic Council, but he'll basically be the main economic advisor in the White House. He's brought in Paul Volcker, the former Federal Reserve chairman, a kind of giant of American economic policy, to run an outside advisory board. And more importantly, and less well known, the Democratic economic establishment is extremely deep. And after 8 years of Republican rule, there are a huge number of very talented Democratic economists who are all itching to get back into the administration. So it's going to be an extremely talented bunch of people. They are determined to be bold. They haven't given any figures yet, but President-elect Obama has talked about creating 2.5 million jobs. The speculation is a fiscal stimulus worth $500 to $700 billion. I think they're going to be, it's going to be pretty much across the board. There'll be some tax cuts. There'll be some quick dispersing money, aid to the states, for example. In the United States, fiscal policy is extremely pro-cyclical because the states have to balance their budgets, which means that in a downturn they have to cut spending or raise taxes. And to counter that, the federal government can basically shovel money to the states. And there will be some infrastructure projects. There's a lot of talk about a Green New Deal, creating a whole load of jobs to weatherize roofs or create a newer, greener America. I'm more skeptical about that because I think that although there is a role for infrastructure spending, and there certainly is in the U.S. where if you've been there recently, you'll know it could do with some infrastructure spending. It's hard to get that stuff on stream quickly, and it's hard to make it efficient. And I worry that it's easy to talk big about things like a Green New Deal and harder to actually make it something other than subsidies for particular industries. But that said, I think there's a very talented, very centrist group of people determined to be bold, and I think they will be, and they will do fiscal stimulus, they will do more to look at the housing market directly, they will overhaul the financial rescue packages. I suspect we'll see a more systematic approach to financial services, particularly to the banks. Will it be enough to turn around the economy in a dime? No. This is going to be a long hangover, but I think it's pretty clear that they will pull out all the stops and do whatever is necessary to stop it spiraling down into a really, truly nasty recession. There's an interesting question raised by this crisis and what it means for kind of global economic leadership. And until the end of September, it was very prevalent, particularly within Europe, to say that this was an American crisis. It was made in America. It was made on Wall Street. It showed the evils of Anglo-Saxon-style excesses. Pierre Steinbrück, as you probably know, the German finance minister, in fact, said precisely that and proclaimed the end of American financial hegemony 4 days before he had to bail out his own banking system. So European financial systems don't look so great now. Therefore, I think that the notion that this is some sort of dramatic shift away from American economic power has lost some of its potency. That said, clearly we're in a new world. We're in a world where emerging economies are relatively more important, and that relative strength will be there even though the emerging world is being hit by this downturn and hit hard. And the shift from the G7 to the G20 as the kind of potential locus of global economic leadership is symbolic of that. That said, we've got the G20 now. It's not clear yet how effective it's going to be. And so we've got the potential for a shift of governance, but it has to prove itself as a forum that can actually get things done in order for it to become the real engine of global economic leadership.